Vous souhaitez regarder la vidéo sous-titrée français ou autre? Pour activer les sous-titres dans la langue de votre choix, cliquez sur l'icône des paramètres juste ici, puis sélectionnez Sous-titres. Ensuite, choisissez Traduction automatique et sélectionnez la langue désirée. Et voilà, vous êtes prêt à regarder la vidéo. Bon visionnage.
Please welcome back to the stage, President of All-American America, Mr. Gary Shreve.
How you guys doing? Good afternoon. Did you guys get something to eat? Yeah? Have you enjoyed the day? Yes, I surely hope so. We had the product launch, the Logic. Who went and got their Logic? Who has the show? I want to see your Logic kit. Who has it on them? Let me see it. Anyone? Perfect. Yes, we got a few of them. Fantastic, fantastic. Then we had a great training on FLP 360. And I just want to tell you guys again what a absolute powerful tool FLP 360 can be in your business. Please make sure you're using it on a daily basis to build your business. Then we heard from our president, Aiden O'Hare, at the end. Gave us a wonderful story and explanation on the power of being a fantastic sponsor, the importance of it. Can everybody hear me okay? All right, translators are working? Translation working? All right, good. All right, if I could ask everyone, please, just to bring it down a little bit. That way we can make sure we hear our next speaker. But before I do that, Aiden had the opportunity, and he brought his wife, Laura, up here on stage. And he asked her, why was it fantastic or brilliant to be married to him? Do you remember that? She said what a great guy he was, great husband, and which he is. Integrity. Well, I have my wife here today also. She's over here. Stand up, Tanya. So, my beautiful wife. Now, you don't need to ask her why it's incredible to be married to me, because I can tell you. Okay? First off, she will tell you the number one reason: I am very, very romantic. Very romantic, right? And she'll tell you the best reason, the number one reason she's married to me: I am a fantastic kisser. That's what it comes down to. If you ask her, that's what she'll tell you. And you know how I know that? I'll share with you guys a little secret. I actually kissed my wife the very first time when I was 14 years old. That's how long I've known her. And that moment our lips touched, when we were 14, she turned to me and she said, I want to marry you one day. And that's how it's been ever since. That's it. So, you know, I hope I'm a good father, good husband, and all those other things that Laura said about Aiden, but what it really comes down to, hey, it's those aloe lips. That's what it is. All right, guys. Hey, I'm really, really excited about today's training. We had the opportunity actually to listen to this gentleman with the GLT when we were in Amsterdam on the GLT Summit just a few days ago. And it was a shortened version of what you're going to get, but I have to tell you, I was so impressed with what he said. I hope you're ready to take some notes, because I promise you right now, you are going to learn some things that will change your business. So let me read you this quick little bio on him. Timothy Armu is a pioneer in the world of influencers and marketing branding. At age 21, think about this. At age 21, Timo founded FanBytes, his company. What were you doing at 21? I can tell you, I wasn't founding my own company at 21. Very, very impressive. FanBytes was helping global brands including Nike, Samsung, Deliveroo, the UK government engage the Gen Z via influencing marketing. In 2022, 5.5 years post-launch, Timo sold FanBytes to a global marketing company, Brain Labs, in a 8-figure exit. Very successful. Timo's success and expertise has seen him win some very significant accolades, including Huntington Post Entrepreneur of the Year, named Social Media Person of the Year by Drum, and the 2021 Face of Forbes 30 Under 30. Very impressive pedigree. Let's give it up for Timo!
Woo! Hello, hello. Can you all hear me? Can you all hear me in the back? All good? Hello, everyone. One of the things I absolutely love is some of the fashion that I'm seeing here. As someone who is from Ghana, I'm just, you guys, just the fashion, the drip, I'm absolutely loving it. So thank you guys all for coming in your best outfits as well. So thanks for that, all right? So, in the next probably about 40 minutes, and I've been told to speak slow because, you know, there's translators here. So in the next 40 minutes, I'm going to talk about a couple of things. I'm going to talk mainly about how you can reach more of that Gen Z audience, how you can market on social media in a better way than you are currently doing. And what I want is by the end is for you to have very specific strategies, very specific tactics, very specific ways in which you are going to market your business. Okay? That sound good, everyone? All right, sweet. Now, one thing, I am a person who loves good energy, all right? So at various times, I'm going to ask you to just give me energy, and that will involve shouting, yelling, skateboarding, somersaulting. Just do and go as crazy as you want, all right? Good. There we go. Now we're talking. Now we're talking. So I'll give you guys a bit of a bio. So that is me in the middle. At 19 years old, I know at 19 I still had a beard. Kind of crazy, isn't it? At 19 with two of my friends, and we had stumbled across this idea of influencer marketing. There were brands who were wanting to reach the next generation of consumers. And in my second year of university in the UK, what I did was I said, guys, there's an opportunity here. What if we could build a platform where brands can connect directly with these influencers? And if we can do that, then the brands will pay us. And then in doing that, we can then make some money. We were just these three kids in London trying to build a business because we thought that building a business was the best way for us to get out of the situation we were in. And I can imagine a lot of people here can actually empathize with that, okay? So here's what happened. So we started our company in 2017. We grew the company to a team of 80 people, helping all the world's biggest brands like McDonald's, Deliveroo, Samsung, the UK government. All of these brands were our customers coming to us, just wanting us to help them to reach a Gen Z audience. And we grew that company, and within 5.5 years, we grew the company to multiple 8 figures in revenue, until in May 2022, the craziest thing happened. What do you think is the craziest thing that happened? Well, forever didn't happen in May 2022, right? That's happening now. That was the craziest thing. What happened was that we got approached by a company called Brain Labs. And what they did was that this company that we had just started 5.5 years ago in university, we sold it for £35 million. The equivalent of $46 million. And we sold that company when I was 27 years old. Right? Now, yeah, you can applaud if you want. Now, the reason I tell that story is not to come here and flex and go like, oh my God, look at me. It is to actually show two things. The first thing is to show that I was in a very similar position in terms of like wanting to make something happen, wanting to build a business, thinking that business was the way in which I'd be able to change my life in some way. But equally, I show it because I want to show that when I'm talking about the social media strategies or the influencer strategies that we're going to talk about here, I'm not just saying it like, oh, this is what I read, guys. This is the active stuff that we did every single time with brands. But before we go into the main things, I want to just do one thing. I want all of you, when I count up to 3, I want all of you to do one thing for me. And it's actually to give yourself a round of applause. Come on, let's go. Now, good. Louder. Let's go. Good. So, why am I telling you to give yourself a round of applause? I'm telling you to give yourself a round of applause. This is one of my favorite memes, DiCaprio doing that, because there are a lot of people in the world who have always thought about changing their lives in some way. They've thought about getting out of their seats and actually doing something meaningful. They have thought about actually progressing in some way. They have seen the motivational videos, they've watched all the motivational videos, and they still haven't done anything. They still have stayed there and thought, well, I wonder if, because at some point they think that the future them is someone going to be so different to their current them, and they don't realize that they actually have to take action to get to that next stage. But the reason why I say applaud yourself is because everyone here took action. That's the reason why you guys are here. Because you took action, you decided to do something different, you decided to find something that was meaningfully going to change your lives, your friends' lives, your family's lives. And again, that is the reason why I'm going to ask you for the second time to give yourselves a massive round of applause. Massive round of applause here. Okay? Good. Now, let's get on to the tactical stuff. Let's get on to the source. Let's get on to the practical things that we can do here as people in order to market ourselves better on social media, in order to market to more of that Gen Z audience also on social media, because that is what we are here for. But then equally, I want everyone to leave here at least taking one thing that you're going to implement if you want to then sell more of the Forever Living products and make that the forefront of what you're doing. Because I don't think people understand the world we are in right now. Do you know how insane it is that in our pockets we can basically have access to billions of people, and just by saying the right things, people would just gravitate over to us? I don't think people really understand that. And then you add on what's going on with AI and ChatGPT, and you are like, oh my God, how lucky are we to live in a time like this? When I spoke to my parents, when I speak to older people, when I speak to my grandparents, and I'm like, Mom, I promise you, you can just say this thing into ChatGPT and it will tell you anything that you want. And then if you have an idea, you can put it out. And millions, hundreds of thousands of people, even 1,000 people will see it. To her, she's like, oh my God, I am living in a dream. And so I really want everyone here to really understand just the opportunity that we have, not only with Forever, that's great, but also the opportunity that we have right now. Do you know how lucky you are to be, this is going to sound weird, but do you know how lucky you are to be the sperm that won, right? Because this is insane, the world we're living in. I want you to grab it with all the opportunity and all the energy that you can, okay? So, we're going to talk about 5 things here, right? Just 5 strategies. These 5 strategies are going to be the strategies that you can use when you are marketing your products on social media, marketing Forever Living on social media, whether it's the moisturizers, whether it's the gels. These are frameworks. I want you to take these frameworks, and in each of these frameworks, I'm going to give you examples of how they work. I'm going to tell you why they work, and then I'm going to make sure that I drill it in your head so that tonight, when you are sleeping, you wake up and you go, yes, I'm going to do this. Okay? That's my promise from me to you. All good? Yes. All good? Yes. All right, there we go. So these are the 5 things, right? One is repeatable routines, the teach me something economy, the remix method, relatable moment, and the mindset to win. Those are the 5 key things we're going to talk about, and also strategies that you can use to promote products on social media. But before we do that, I want to tell you guys something that has fundamentally changed right now. which is that depth is now more important than virality. What do I mean by that, right? How many of you guys, by show of hands, how many have heard of this company, BuzzFeed? By show of hands, BuzzFeed. Okay, so for those who don't know what BuzzFeed is/was, BuzzFeed was this massive online site where they'll do these sort of quizzes, right? What sort of Harry Potter fan are you? What sort of cat are you? They do all these big quizzes, and they'll always talk about the billions of views that they got. We have, we've got 10 billion views on a video. And that's what really mattered in 2010, right? Everyone was talking then about, we have billions of views, hundreds of millions of views on our content. And that was what success actually meant then. But now, it has completely changed. Because now, it's not about how many views that you get, it's actually about the depth that you are able to build. And I wanted to share that because of this. Because actually, if you imagine these circles here, right? The big circles are the big views, etc. But then as you get smaller and smaller and smaller, in that middle section, that is your loyal audience. In that middle section, that is your high-value audience. In that middle section, that is your repeatable audience who will keep coming back to you and buying from you. And more importantly, in that middle section is where the money is, right? And the reason I wanted to start off with this is because I know that psychologically as human beings, we place a lot of value on big numbers, right? Oh my God, this got 1 billion views and this got 10 million views, and I feel really sad because the video that I put out or the reel that I put out or the thing that I post only got 1,000 people. Take a pause and think about what 1,000 people is. We have less than 1,000 people here. I want everyone to just look around in the audience now. This is less than 1,000 people. So if 1,000 people see your content and those people keep coming back to your content, that is an incredibly valuable thing. So a running theme you're going to hear me talk about here is not to focus on views, but actually to focus on depth and relatability. Because that is what is the thing where when you talk about the products, when you talk about Forever Living, you need to infuse and add depth and relatability to the stuff that you do. All right? So I just wanted to make sure we get that out of the way. We are not just focusing. I'm not going to tell you how to just get a ton of views over here, because I could tell you that, but the point is, it's not going to actually lead to success. It's not going to lead to people then coming to you and wanting to know more. It's not going to lead necessarily to you having a lot of people then say, do you know what you said is really profound to me. What you said is really something I empathize with. You might get a bunch of likes and people saying, oh, that was good content. But then that's all that you're going to get. Oh, that was good content. But what we're trying to do is build a tribe of people. What we're trying to do is build a community of people who are going to go on a long term with us. So I just want again to emphasize this, all right? Everyone get it in your head. We are not talking about views here. We are talking about depth and relatability. And all the strategies we're going to talk about are about that. All make sense? Yes. All make sense? Yes. All make sense? Yes. There we go. Now we're cooking. Good stuff. Now, let's go on to the first framework here. The first framework is format-driven content. Who knows what I mean by format-driven content? By show of hands. Good. You're not meant to know because I'm about to tell you. So, format-driven content is this. Social media, as we know it, and as everyone here knows it, is incredibly noisy. So noisy, right? And so when you are just another person who's just talking about whatever on social media, you're not going to be able to connect because you're competing with hundreds of millions of other people who are also just talking about whatever. It's like if you were just watching TV, right? You're watching a TV show, and if every single second there was just a random person talking about a random thing, you wouldn't be able to bond with that person in any way. However, what TV has been able to do is show specific shows, specific formats that we all are now buying into. So if you really think about it, when you're watching something on TV, you're really watching a format. You're like buying into a format, right? The Simpsons, one of my favorite things. It's a format. It's someone making something very predictable and making something very repeatable. So I'm going to share with you something, and I want you to really understand this, which is watch time plus familiarity equals the platform rewards. Now, that seems like a bunch of words, and I'll explain it. Watch time is basically what percentage of people are going to watch your content from the start to the finish. The higher the watch time, the more Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube are going to show it to more people. Do you know why? Because they're going to say, wow, this content is something people are going to stay on our platform for longer. And if they stay on our platform for longer, we're going to sell them more advertising. Equally, familiarity. If people are familiar with the content that you actively put out, what that means is that they're going to actually then stay on even longer to watch your content. So those two things there, watch time and familiarity, are two of the most important things because the platform is going to reward you for that. What does that mean for people here? Is that especially when we're talking about our products, especially if we're talking about the gel, or we're talking about the cleansers, or we're talking about moisturizers, or we're talking about anything in the Forever Living ecosystem, how can we turn it into almost like a show and a format that people are very familiar with? So I'll give you an example here, right? This brand is a crazy brand. This brand is called Every, right? This brand is a jewelry brand. They sell rings and necklaces, etc. Do you know how these people became famous? Because what they would do is someone from their social media team would go out onto the street and just ask people things like, what is the biggest ick in a man? That is the way that they got famous. But what was happening was that people began to know that brand because of that particular format, and then over time, they started then to weave in their products in there. So for example, they might say, well, what is your best piece of jewelry in a man? What is your best piece of jewelry in a woman? And they pioneered this format here. And so because of that, they drove watch time because people saw that and then they'll keep watching. And then they also drove familiarity as well. How many of you know who this guy is by show of hands? Right. So this is a very good friend of mine, Simon Squibb, right? Simon, when he started creating content, Simon was very much all about business content, right? You know, like this is how to do this is how to do that. And then one day he realized a lot of people are just doing business content every single time. So what he did was that he then started to go out into the streets and he asked people one question. And if you know Simon, then you know what's the question. Shout it out if you know it. What is your dream? That's the format. Because anytime you see him holding a mic, you know he's going to ask you the question saying, what's your dream? And if you like it, you end up being familiar with it, and then also you end up driving more watch time to the algorithms because you're saying, I wonder what this person's dream is. So I've just showed you two very clear examples of how that actually worked. And now the question for the people here, right, is like, think about this. What format can you own? And I gave a few examples here, right? So let's say you can do a before and after post, right? So an example here, very simple. It's like, you know, X days after using aloe vera gel, 10 days after using aloe vera gel, 20 days after using, like turn it into a series, right? Turn your morning routine into a series. This is what I do in the afternoon, this is what I do in the evening. You turn it into a predictable series, and eventually what's going to happen is people will start to gravitate to it. Or like, what's in my bag? How many of you guys, by show of hands, have seen those what's in my bag videos? There is no reason why you can't do that for your products. There is no reason why, right? There is no reason why your morning routine cannot consist of, you know, what's in my bag as a busy mom? What's in my bag as a busy dad? What's in my bag as a this? All of these things are ways in which you can actually use social media to push out not only your brand, but also your actual products as well. Does that make sense? Yeah? Good? Now, next. The next thing about social media here is teach me something small. This is something which I think everyone here actually really does, but we don't realize that we do it. Because let's be honest now, social has now become the way that we get all of our education. right? I mean, the way I learned how to swim was actually that I just watched a bunch of people do it on YouTube, and then they talked about their mistakes that they made, and then I went to swim, and then I came back, and then I watched more TikToks about it. Like, that's actually the way that I learned to do it. And that's the way that we tend to learn a lot of different things. Now, why is this important? Why is this idea of teaching me something small? Why is that an important thing for you to be able to use in your content? Because again, we have to think like the algorithms. So, why? Because savable, shareable content performs better. If you teach me something, the 5 ways to do something, the 3 ways to do something, I suddenly now feel like I need to save it for next time. And if I needed to save it for next time, then that's telling Instagram, that's telling YouTube, that's telling TikTok, that's telling Facebook. That's saying this content is good. And then I start to show it to more and more people. So you see what we're doing here. I am trying to get you to think like the platforms, not just like, hey guys, I'm here. Because there's a lot of other people who are doing, hey guys, I'm here. But we don't think like other people. We think above the way that they think. We think like the platforms, and we give the platforms what they actually want. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Got you. Because, let's be honest here, the more dwell time, the more ad revenue. So this is what I mean by that, right? The more dwell time means the more time people are going to spend on your account, the more time people spend on your post, the more ad revenue the platforms are going to get. And so it's in their best interest. Remember, Mark Zuckerberg is not our friend, okay? Mark Zuckerberg is not our friend. Mark Zuckerberg wants to make money, and the way he makes money is by getting people to stay onto the platform, and in staying on the platform, he makes money by showing you ads. And so our job as people here on social media who are using social media to promote our products is how do we give them more of what they want. And I'll show you a few examples here. This is a woman here called the Glucose Goddess. All that she does is every post, all she does is talk about glucose. She talks about how to make sure that you have the right levels of glucose, the foods for glucose, etc. She has an entire business behind this. Guess how much her business made last year? Take a wild guess. Pardon? Millions, yes. Just give me a random number. 1 million. No. Her business made $27 million last year. $27 million last year. And all that she does is just teach you something in every single post. And then you go, wow, that was such good content. I now need to know what they are offering. She didn't say, hey guys, go check out my glucose guide. No, she said, this is what it is. This is why we all need more muscle. This is how your glucose levels affects you during the evening. This is how it affects the food that you eat. This is how the drinks. She just teaches you. And then as a result, what then happens is that you then say, this is someone I trust. The platform show it to more people. And then that is then what happens to build a $27 million business in a single year. I think her team is 5 people. 5 people. Next person is even this one, right? This is another account, Feel with Kay. She makes a lot of money. Simple things like ways to naturally glow up in 2025 from your holistic health bestie. Again, she's just teaching you something. And do you know how easy this is? She's not actually even making a video. It's just a picture of her, and then every new slide is her teaching you something. That's it. Everyone here can do that. Everyone here can do that. You don't have to have some high level of production, and that is something which perhaps in the past you needed high levels of production. Now you don't. Or even this guy. This guy did it for the most boring thing you would ever. This is water. His company sells filtered water. And he has basically turned it into, rather than saying, hey guys, come check out our filtered water. In the same way, you might say something like, well, hey guys, check out the gel, right? He's not doing that. Look at the videos he's doing. All he's doing here is he's talking about what affects the ratings and filtrations of water. And if you actually even look for this company has just raised from investors $20 million. This guy is 22 years old and is just following this strategy of teach me something. So if I think about that with people here, one of the questions is like, how can we use the product in Forever Living? How can we use them to teach a stranger something that they care about? So some things here, right? 5 signs that your gut needs help and what to do about it. That's the way you can tell people about the gel. 3 ingredients that might be making you gain weight. That's the way you can talk about the ultralight shake. 3 reasons why your skin isn't glowing. That's the way that you can talk about the collagen. Like, all of these are ways in which you can use social not only to just talk about, look how amazing I am, but to bring the product to the forefront. Does that make sense? Yes. Does that make sense? Yes. Great. All right, cool. The third thing I want to talk about here is something called the remix method. Now, I'm going to say something which you probably have never thought about before, which is social media is mostly remixes of remixes. And you know what's crazy? Everything in the world is just a remix of a remix. Even the best books are remixes of best prior books. Let's think, how many of you guys have heard the 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss? By show of hands. Right? So the 4-Hour Workweek is a book by Tim Ferriss about productivity. The 4-Hour Workweek is just a remix of Rich Dad, Poor Dad and the E-Myth. Like, that's it. It's the same principles, it's the exact same thing, but all it's done is a remix. How many of you have heard of the book Atomic Habits by James Clear? Raise your hands. Yeah? You all have? Atomic Habits is just a remix of The Power of Habit and Mini Habits. He just changed the format. He delivered it in a way that made sense to you. He did it through a newsletter. He did it through like a new, novel way. It's much cooler. It's much sharper. But if you actually read all 3 books, they say the exact same thing. It's just that the first 2 were the older versions of it. Maybe they were done in a more boring way. And James Clear just made Atomic Habits sexy, right? That's it. And again, going back to this, everything is a remix of everything. Now, I want to tell you something. What I've just told you about everything being a remix of everything is probably the most exciting thing you will hear today. Why is it exciting? Because it means you don't have to be a genius and come up with a crazy way to promote any of your products. It actually just means that you just do very simple things. You identify what's worked elsewhere, and you remix and place yourself in there. If there's one thing I want you to take from this, it is this. I do not have to be a genius. In fact, you know what? I want everyone to say this after 3. I want you guys to say this. I do not have to be a genius, okay? 1, 2, 3. I do not have to be a genius. Again. And then for the 3rd time, wonderful. I hope that when you go to bed today, you wake up and go, oh my God, I don't have to be a genius. Okay? Because when you look at social media, when you think about content in general, the rewards don't go to the person who comes up with the most insane ideas. How many of you have heard of Mr. Beast by show of hands? Great. Now, he himself has said on many different interviews that a lot of his ideas are just remixes of existing ideas, and then he just places his own angle on it. So he will see something that's worked, which is he'll go worst hotel versus best hotel. That's an idea someone had. He would then say, do you know what? I'm going to escalate it. I'm going to say a $1 hotel versus a $10 hotel versus a $100 hotel versus a $10,000 hotel versus a $1 million hotel. The idea was taken by someone else. He just took it and he then put his entire spin on it. And so for us here, one of the most important things here is we have good products. We have good products that change people's lives. We have good stories that change people's lives. And as a result, rather than us trying to come up with things by our own self, actually the best thing to do is to look at what's worked and remix. And I want to show you an example here. Does anybody follow this guy? Dr. Karen, by show of hands. Anyone? So he has a 1.7 million follower account. He makes a lot of money from his content. And you know what he does? He follows this remix thing very, very well. And I'm going to show you an example of how he does it. So for example, one of the things that he does is he looks at videos that have already worked, and then he just puts his own reaction to it. See how super easy that is, and something that you can do for yourself. So this one is about a quick bloating hack. I'll show you how this actually looks. This place.
This deload routine is from this to that in less than 5 minutes, and it's solely a massage technique. I found this synthetic drainage massage technique on Nancy First Instagram 6 months ago, and I'm super proud.
If you suffer with bloating and gas, this massage might give your bowels a happy ending. If you begin your massage in the lower right-hand corner of your abdomen near the inside of your hip bone, this corresponds to the beginning of your ascending curve. While maintaining a firm pressure and massage up the right-hand side of your abdomen, tracing along the path of the large intestine. Try doing this massage in the morning when your bowels are actually more active, and always make sure you're going from right to left or clockwise. This can be a medication-free way to help with bloating symptoms, because not only can it help to manually move your bowel motions along, like squeezing the last bit of toothpaste out of a tube, but it also mimics peristalsis. That's the wave-like contractions of your intestines. This means increased intestinal motility, which equals better gas and food dynamics, which equals less bloating. This is not a quick fix, but it can be a useful, low-risk adjunct to other strategies, like hydrating more, exercising more, and eating more fiber. If you continue to struggle with bloating or constipation, don't just deal with it. Your bowel health is important, and chronic constipation and bloating are signs that something is amiss.
So, it doesn't actually matter what he said. What matters is actually the first 5 seconds. That prior video, a quick bloating hack, that prior video already had millions of views. So you see what he did there. He took an existing piece of content. He could have just said, if you have bloating, these are the things to do, right? And people here could talk about it with any of the products, whether it is the gel, whether it is the skin cream. You could say that. Or you could take something that you know has already worked, and then you could then comment on it. That didn't take him long to do, and it should not take you guys long to do at all. And so I want to, again, just emphasize that at the end of this talk, at the end of this discussion with you, I don't want you to think that you have to be a superhero in order to understand any of this. You don't. You do not have to be a genius. I've just shown you a bunch of examples which are very low lift, which are very straightforward, which are very easy to do, and to insert products in there, to insert your forever living products in there. Does that all make sense? Yes. All right, and now the final thing we'll look at in terms of that is relatable moments. So here's what I mean by that. When you're trying to target a Gen Z audience, you have to remember that Gen Z, they live in moments. What do I mean by live in moments? Let's be honest, if you're trying to target a younger audience, and not even a younger audience, but let's be honest here, right? Most of our lives are kind of boring. Our lives are boring. It's not like every day we're doing something so exciting that we want everyone to document it. Most of our lives are just like doing the same thing over and over again, and maybe something cool happens, etc. But when you post on social, what you want to do is to be able to show the cool moments in your life, the relatable moments. Because remember earlier on, at the beginning of this talk, I said it's not about the views, it's about the depth and also the relatability that people have with you. Because if you have that depth, if you have that relatability, people are actually going to buy from you. People are going to consume from you. And remember, everyone here, the way that we grow in the company is making sure that we have more and more people in our community, more and more people in our group, more and more people who know, like, and trust us. And so everything I've showed you here is about how do we create more of the opportunities for people to know, like, and trust us. And so the Gen Z living in moment is all about how do you create those very relatable moments that people can really identify with. Because if you're able to do that, they will go, oh, that's me. I feel seen. Here's a reason for me to then follow you. Here's a reason for me to then message you. Here's a reason for me to feel like I'm a part of your community anyway. So, how do you capture these moments? The easiest way, this is a cheat sheet, right? The easiest way is just do something called POV videos. By show of hands, how many know what I mean by POV videos? Right? POV videos, I'll just show you an example. I'll show you. POV videos. This is just a girl in her car saying, POV, you don't have to worry about grocery shopping because while you're making money, your husband is out buying the groceries. And what you will find is there's a lot of people there who go, oh yeah, I can relate to that. And as a result, they will then follow her, they will then engage with her. Or this one, POV. You Google real ways to earn from home, and then boom. Then you go in and then you tell your story. You can imagine people saying, oh my God, that's me. I also Google real ways to earn from home. So POV videos are your style, or this one, right? POV. You're not making money yet, but you feel more aligned than ever. These are just a few examples I wanted to show about how people are effectively, remember, these are strangers. These are people that you do not know. But just through the way that they position and create their content, they are making you feel like, oh my God, I feel seen. I am that person. And that, again, is what we want to really emphasize here. And the feeling that we want to give is this. How many of you have seen a piece of content and you've gone, I feel so seen? By show of hands. It's because that person has picked a moment in their lives which mirrors a moment in your life, and you've gone, whoa. You who lives in Australia somewhere, and I live in this, you live in Australia and I live in Nigeria, but we're still connected because of that particular moment. So a question for you to think about is like, what are the relatable moments in the life of your customer that you can then use in your content? And again, look at this. This is not hard to do. This is this, right? Doing this. POV, done. Simple. Everything I've shown you here is so simple, and I intentionally made this superbly simple so that any idiot can do it. Now, I'm not saying you guys are idiots, right? But I'm making it so simple because look, like most of business, most of making money, most of content, most of that is just doing these simple things over and over and over and over again. One of my friends just sold his company. He runs basically the most basic company ever. What it does is that you upload pictures of your dog and your cat. It's called Crown and Paw. You upload pictures of your dog and cat, and it turns them into like someone from the royal family, like a king or a queen. That's his business, right? He just sold that company for $80 million. That person is not intelligent, right? Even he said, I was like, mate, I'm the dumbest rich person I know. All he did was he found something and he just executed over and over and over again. And I want to get that in your mind here, that you do not have to be a genius, right? People even hear about, say, with Fanbytes, my company, and they go, oh, why you sold it for 46 million? Like, wow, you're so smart. It's like, no, I just saw like influencers, and then I saw brands, and then I connected them, and then I just did it for 6 years. And then, like that's what happened, right? I just want to really emphasize this idea that you don't have to be a genius, that the things I'm saying here are not some incredible thing that only a few people can do. So going back to this point, what are some of the relatable moments and lives of your customer? And I put some examples here, right? Again, it can be something as simple as this. I grab my phone, right? And I just do that. And then I go, right. POV. You're a single mom who has finally found something for yourself, right? And whilst you're creating that content, you're packing lunch, you're taking a sip of the gel, and then you are then plugging something from Forever Living. Or POV, so you don't know what's wrong, but you're tired all the time. All right, why are you tired all the time? Because of this, because of that. And then you can then insert the product in there. Or something that's like POV, right? Just like this. You are building a silent side hustle and it's finally paying off. All of those examples are things that every single human being can connect with in some way. And if you do that, and if you can do that content on social, not only are you going to reach that Gen Z audience, which is what the theme of this is, but equally you are also then going to be reaching people who can empathize with you, people who feel like they feel very seen. And so the 5 things here are the repeatable routines, teach me something economy, the remix method, relatable moments, and then the 5th one is this, the mindset required to win. Now, all good? All right. Now, the final thing is the mindset required to win. You know, when Aiden asked me to come and speak here, and I was like, dude, do you want a motivationally thing or do you want a practical thing? And he said, look, let's go practical. And so that's one thing that I've tried to do here to keep it very practical. But I cannot overestimate the importance of this final thing, which is like to win this game, whether it's the game of business or the game of content, mindset is important. But the most important part of mindset, the most important part is this, is to become a tinkerer. By show of hands, who knows what I mean by becoming a tinkerer? Okay. I'll explain what a tinkerer is, right? Because it's a very UK-US term. A tinkerer is who every one of us was as a 5-year-old. When we will look at something and then we'll break that thing, and then we'll fix it, and then we'll break it again, and then we'll see what worked, and then we'll take a piece and then we'll throw it away, and then we'll realize, oh crap, I need to bring back that piece. Okay, now this works. And then you do that over a long enough time period and you go, oh, this is how it works. And that's a tinkerer. It's someone who is always messing about with things and experimenting. And the biggest mindset required to win is to become a tinkerer. I currently, in my own personal brand, I have over 1 million followers on social. How did I get to that? Because every single day when I was starting 2 years ago, I was tinkering. Oh, this didn't work. Oh, well, that's all right. Let's change this. This didn't work. Oh, well, that's all right. This didn't work. And I want to encourage everyone here to realize this. And this might be a bit unencouraging, but take this as me saying it from the bottom of my heart as someone who wants everyone here to win, right? When you start to implement these sorts of things I am talking about here and the examples here, the first time you do it, it's going to be bad. Okay? The second time you do it is going to be bad as well. But it's going to be less bad than the first time. And then the third time you do it, it's also going to be bad. But it will be less bad than the second time. And then by the time you get to your 10th time, you go, oh, okay, I'm kind of getting good at this. And that's what happens in every single business and every new thing that you do. Think back to when you were learning to ride a bike. You went and then you dropped. Think back to when you started anything new. You started and then you flopped. And then you failed. And that's completely fine. Because none of us here are geniuses. We learn through skill acquisition. And a phrase I say to my team, I own a bunch of different companies, and I say, you want to fail your way to success. And this is not just a business thing, this is also a content. So remember the point I made here about failing your way to success, right? All good? Okay. All hear me? About failing your way to success. I really want you to just infuse that in your mind. And then the final thing I want you to do, I want you to be aware, is I said, I am jealous of you. I'm jealous of you. Do you know the reason why I am jealous of you? The reason I am jealous of you is because everyone here is actually already in kind of the 1% of the overall population. And I'll tell you why. Because remember earlier, I said that a lot of people have these dreams and aspirations that they really want to just change their lives in some way, that they really want to make a change in some way, and then they just, for some reason, they do not. When I say I'm jealous of you, what I mean is now you're going to be even leaving a bigger gap between you and those people. Because you now have the strategies, the tools. Other people in your industry do not have the strategies and the tools that you now have. The ability to just instantly know the sort of content to put out. To instantly know that you don't have to be a genius. To instantly know that actually just by teaching people is the way that you're going to get people in, as opposed to just constantly talking about your product. So I'm kind of jealous of you on behalf of the people who are not here. Because those people, the gap between you two is going to be incredibly far. And so finally, again, I want to say to you, congratulations to everyone here. Because every single person here has taken that step. I want you guys to applaud again. Because it is not easy. It is not easy to, I think someone said this in a book. He said, like, it is not easy to overcome your old self. It is not easy to basically choose that society wants you to be a certain way. They want to mold you into a certain way. But then you then decide, no, I'm actually going to think for myself and be someone different. And so I want to say again, appreciate all you guys for being here. Well done for actually becoming a new version of yourself, and those strategies that I've showed you, as you use it, I want to make sure that you guys are even more and more successful. So thank you very much. Thank you. Thanks. There we go. I think, do we have time for Q&A? Yeah?
Just you're over there.
Brent? Yeah, good.
Hey, let's have a big round of applause for Timo. Great job, Tim. Hey, Timo, before, you okay answering a couple questions?
Yeah, let's go with the questions. Yeah.
First of all, your 5 things, brilliant.
Yeah.
You know, and exactly what we asked for. In fact, better.
Great.
I gotta admit, it was really interesting, really intriguing. But this is what you taught me.
Yeah.
The one thing you taught me above all of that, and was, did you see how he handled the unpredictable? Because I think that's why you made the money you make. Is the other guys can follow that, but there's very few that can be on the stage and it blacks out.
Yeah.
And to think like you did, and to come up with the idea, to create instant content like you did, that'll be your best post. These guys go, you know. So, mate, honestly,
Yes,
that was a great example to me, and I appreciate it very much.
Thank you.
So I have a question. First question, because I've got the microphone, the remote control for a minute, is what post of all your posts and content surprised you the most in its reaction? And that's a tough question, but...
As in, of my
one
own?
of your own, in your whole journey, and you posted something and thought, bloody hell, that was a lot more than I was anticipating, or a lot less.
Okay. The post which surprised me the most was actually the post that we made shortly after we sold the last business. And I'll tell you the reason it surprised me, because I think there is a lesson for you here. So I grew up in South London. I grew up in Council Estate, in a very poor area of the UK. And the picture, it was just a picture, not even me telling my story. It was just a picture of me going to my old 4th floor apartment, and I just pointed at it. And I said, like, this is where I grew up, and this is how things have changed. And that post currently now, I believe, sits on 15 million views. No way. The reason why is because people connected with it. People felt like, oh shit, that's me. That's me. And it gave people in that 30 seconds, it gave them a feeling that if he can do it, then I can. And it's probably quite similar to a lot of people here, which is that feeling of when you're posting, when you're talking about your products, when you're talking about how Forever has changed your life, like, remember there is someone else on the other side of that screen who you are impacting. It's not just about you, it's about something much bigger than you.
Yeah, that's a much better answer than the question, I can tell you. All right, fantastic. Now you got my brain thinking about that. It's just brilliant. Now you're from South London.
Yeah.
Do you like football?
I do like football.
Who do you support?
Don't bring it up.
No, come on, mate. Come on.
I support Arsenal.
Yeah! And you were in Paris. You just missed the match by a couple of days. So sorry about that, mate. Because I'm a Liverpool supporter. Yeah, let's go.
Boo.
Number 1, number 2. That's all that matters. All right, questions. If you have a questions, let's start here, Bodil. I'm not running around with the mic. There's mics here. If you have questions, you can go to it.
Please tell more about the POV. I didn't got it.
Sure.
Point of view. POV means point of view. So you can elaborate.
Yeah, I can say it. So a point of view video is basically where you take your phone and you just, to be honest, what I did when we were jumping around, that is a point of view video. That is, I could just do that video and just say, POV, your presentation just died and you got 700 people to jump up and down. That's a POV, right? So it is anything that is happening in the moment that you might feel like is relatable to someone, you might feel like is aspirational to someone. And that is a point of view video. It's someone being able to look at things from your point of view. And here is the amazing thing. It doesn't even have to be something exciting. It can be anything. It can be POV, I've just woken up and I'm thinking about the best thing to eat today. Is it this or is it that? And that's it. You'd be surprised how many things you might think. Sorry, what's your name? Bodo.
Yeah.
Bodo. Boden. Bodo. Bodo. You'd be surprised, Bodo. Is that right? Bodo? Got it. Sorry. So you'd be surprised, Bodo, how many things you might think are boring to you, but because they are relatable to other people, would drive people to your community. So that's POV videos.
All right, let's go over here.
Hello. Do you recommend to use all 5 frameworks or just to focus on 1, 2 of them?
I think you become a tinkerer. So maybe the first one, you do 3 to 5 of them, and then you see how it hits, you see how you feel, and then you then do 3 to 5 of the other ones, because at some point, here's what's going to happen. You will find a few which you also really like. And content, take this, very important, content should never feel like it's a job. It shouldn't ever feel like, I've got to post content. Because remember earlier I said, what a crazy time we live in, that you can just take your phone and just be seen by strangers and they will know, like, and trust you. It shouldn't feel like a chore. So I would do maybe 5 of each of them in sequence, maybe pick one, do it, do 5, see how you feel, then pick another one and just keep doing that over and over. And then eventually you will start to realize the ones that you really like. And then you just do those ones. And that'll be it.
Okay, thank you. And how many times do you recommend to post per day?
Okay. So at the beginning, you generally want to be able to post, let's say, 2 or 3 times a day, right? Now, that sounds crazy, but think about what, let's say, a POV video is. A POV video is 30 seconds.
Yes.
That's it. POV, I'm doing this thing, done. And so the reason I encourage people at the beginning to post more is because if you think about it, you want to have a lot of data to show what's going to work and what isn't. And so if you post and I post, and you only post once a day, and then I just post twice a day, over a year, that means I've posted 356 times more than you. In that 356 times, I would have figured out more data than you. And so at the beginning, it's very important. Yes, post a lot more frequently. But again, do not see it as a chore. We are living in the greatest opportunity you can. Even better, I know that you didn't ask this, but even better, how many of you guys here use ChatGPT? I hope every single person's hand is up. If you don't use ChatGPT, what's going on? In fact, if you don't use ChatGPT, get out. All right? We have the most amazing intelligence to us. Just say to ChatGPT, I am this person. I promote these products. Here are my 5 frameworks. Tell me 5 different scripts and hooks to use. Do it. Done. All right?
Okay.
All
Thank
good.
you.
All good.
Let's go this side now.
Oh, sorry. We'll go here and then we'll go there.
Hello. Thank you so much for your value, first of all. We are entrepreneurs. We always think, how can we do things more efficient and how can we scale? So if you talk about how to scale things, I'm just comparing now the organic approaches which you showed us now the last couple of minutes. And what do you think about the paid advertising approach?
Yeah.
Should we start, if I talk to new FBOs, I'm 11 years now in the business, I found my way organic and paid, I'm mixing it up. Should we do both parallel the same way? Should we invest a little bit budget every day to see how the paid approaches are going well and to do organic stuff? Or what do you think about, in which order, what do you think about the advertising approaches too?
So I think there's 2 ways to this. One is your paid should amplify your organic. So I would personally never post a new piece of content on paid. I would only take my best performing organic, and that is what I will use for paid.
Just to understand it, what I post on Instagram, you will take the same reel, you will take the same post and boost it with money, right?
Yes, but I'll only post the good ones.
Okay.
Right? Because if you think about it, if you post organic and it does well in terms of engagement or views or shares, that is the algorithm telling you that this is good content. And that's where you can then put paid behind it. Otherwise, you're just putting paid behind anything. It's just guesswork. So I would constantly make sure that the paid works only to amplify the organic. I wouldn't ever just go paid. And then the second thing is, the reason why organic works so well is because, as you know, or maybe people here know, is you can just retarget the people that are already in your audience. And so that would be the 2 ways I would do it. One, I would put paid, but only for, let's say, my top 10% organic posts. And then secondly, I will mostly focus on retargeting, because I already know that through organic, they know, like, and trust me. Getting good at organic is a skill that's going to last you for decades, as opposed to just paid, where it's just a very short-term thing.
One more last question, sir.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding, Pepe.
Just because you made the perfect bridge to retargeting, what about if I post organic stuff by collecting data? Because collecting data is a phrase which everybody uses, especially the big companies. The more data you have, the more you can retarget on paid advertising. What we focusing now, right now in the team, and me especially, to put organic content out there, but always with, for example, put your email down or put this down, so we can collect email addresses to put then in the paid advertising to retargeting the same people who are already on our profile. Is this approach you would recommend? Or is data catching, data collecting something out of day to day?
Yes, but I would do it 70-30. So for those who, just to understand what he's saying, what we're saying here is where we post a piece of content organic, and then I guess start using something like ManyChat or something, where you're saying, comment this, and then you'll get a PDF or you get this, right? I would do that 70-30. So 30% of the time or 30% of my organic content will have that, but then 70% would not have that. Because you don't want to be seen as a spam bot, right?
Exactly.
And when you retarget, you can retarget anyone who's been on your profile in the last 30 days, not just people who've actually engaged with that ManyChat.
Okay, thank you so much.
Cool.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to do these 2 questions and then we'll be done, yeah?
Hi.
Hello.
Thanks for speaking today.
Hello.
I'm 21, and I understand that you started your business off as a 21-year-old.
Yeah.
So I was wondering if you could tell yourself something now, when you were 21, then what would you say and tell them to do differently?
If I was talking to my 21-year-old self now, I would tell him it takes longer than you think. And just be freaking patient. I was very impatient.
Thank you.
I was very impatient because I was looking on social media, I was seeing people do well, and I was like, man, I want to get there, I want to get there. And if I told myself and I realized that it would take longer than I think, I would have enjoyed the journey a lot more and actually got to the end destination even earlier.
Okay, thank you so much.
All good.
Hello, my name is
Hello.
Elmira. I just want to ask you how.
What's your name, sir?
Elmira.
Elmira.
Yeah.
Elmira. Great
Yeah.
name. Elmira.
How many stories would you recommend to make a day?
How many stories?
Yeah, how many stories per day?
Interesting. So I think that there are 2 types of stories you can do. One of them are familiarity building stories, and then there are some which are conversion focused stories. So familiarity focused, I will go for between 3 to 5 a day, right? Now the whole purpose of it is just for people to be familiar with you. It's not really to drive an instant conversion at some point. It is people knowing that you are a real person behind the profile, is for people to build that depth with you. And then there is the conversion one. That's the one where you then say, hey guys, I have this particular thing, or if you're interested in that. That, what I would do, now, this is a hack, right? This is a hack. I don't know how long this hack is going to be, but this has been a hack for a year and I can see it keep going on. I will post 1 story that day. And that 1 story would have a lot of text on it. I don't know how many of you guys have seen that before, where you have 1 story and it has a lot of text on it. And what happens is that on Instagram, they show that to a lot more people. So you can see your average views 20x just by doing that. And so that will be the approach to stories. 3 to 5, familiarity, building up that, and then maybe on once a week, on a Sunday or a Saturday, you then post 1 post a day which has a dense amount of text, which tells your story, and then has a CTA for people to then go, and that will be the way that you approach it.
Is there any special time to make posts? Special time for
The
posts?
special time is the time that your Instagram profile tells you.
Okay.
Go in Instagram, Instagram will say, best times to post. It will tell you when your audience is most active, just do what the algorithm says.
Thank you so much.
All
Thank
good.
you. Thank you.
All right. You've already got more than your money's worth, I'm sure. So we're going to do you a favor. Because it was brilliant, honestly. Absolutely genuinely, from a lad in the South Bank on the 4th floor council estate, mate. It's just been brilliant.
Thank you.
And I felt that when you spoke to the GLT, and I love what you opened with when you said that, listen, all of the complexity, all of that, strip that away because everyone's human.
Yeah.
And I just, that's resonated a lot with me, and the way you handle the unpredictable has been brilliant. And we want to give you some good content. So I want you guys to stand up and make this a massive cheer to say thank you to Timo, because he's come a long way to be able to share some time with you. So when he posts it and he says, I spoke today in Paris, France, with the best bloody audience in the entire world, you're going to prove me wrong. So here we go. 1, 2, 3. Yeah! right, my turn. I just got to do a quick selfie because I want everyone to know how famous I am because I hung out with you today, mate. Here we go.
There we go.
It was brilliant, wasn't it? Brilliant. Big round of applause. Make him feel special. You're awesome, mate. That was great. All the best.